In this video, I will explain how to journal for trading beginners and people that are new to journaling. I will provide tips on what to look for in your journal and to make sure that your data is entered correctly. So when we take a look at this journal, you can see the trader started very well. And now recently he seems to be in a drawdown, and let's find out in this journal what the trader could improve and also look at some of the pitfalls that some beginning traders or traders that are new to journaling get wrong. So when we go to the journal, the first thing that I noticed is that the tilt meter is not populated. And this is usually not a good sign because the tilt meter is one of the most helpful features, and if you enroll in the trader development program that comes with Edgewonk, you will see that the tilt meter challenge is at the very beginning because it is the challenge that will often make the biggest impact on a trader's performance because it reinforces good habits and it helps you understand how well and how good you are at sticking to the rules and how often you break your rules. And when we scroll to the right, you can see the trader for most of the trades he filled out the entry, the exit and the trade management comments, which classify how well the trader is behaving. But for some reason, when we go to the settings and then we go to the trade comments, you see that the trader has not assigned any rating. So although he has entered his comments that describe his trading actions, such as trade entries that are good, that are bad because of issues that are not in his trading plan, or he entered trades that are not according to his rules, he did not assign a rating. So the first thing that you should do in your journal is that once you create a new setup or a new comment, you go to your settings, you go to the trade comments, and then you assign a positive or a negative rating based on the comment. And you do that for the entries. The exits, you can see the trader did not assign any rating. And here also for the trade management that described how well you manage your trades and also just provide specific concepts on trade management. So make sure to rate them positive or negative, and this will then correct your tilt meter, and this will make your tilt meter active in the first place. And then you'll be able to use the various features across Edgewonk. So this is one thing that I really recommend to all the traders and to this trader as well, to make sure to enter this, and then you will have a very nice visual representation of how well do you respect your rules and where do you have issues with discipline. The next thing that is often done incorrectly by new traders, and it's something that also sometimes just happens by accident, is when you go to your reward to risk ratio, so you can see all the columns here, and you have your reward to risk ratio planned. The reward to risk ratio planned is the outlook when you enter the trade based on your stop loss and your take profit price. So when you see a negative reward to risk ratio, this is a sign that something is done incorrectly with the trade input. Here we have the trade, and you can see that the trader did not fill out a take profit. And without a take profit price, your reward to risk ratio will not be calculated. So some traders don't use take profits and they have open-ended take profits. But I saw that the trader here during his whole journal entered his reward to risk ratio correctly for most of the trades. There are a few instances where he has a negative and a very high negative reward to risk ratio. And those will obviously then skew your results. So I would really recommend that you enter your take profit. It seems like the exit price could have been also the take profit. And then if you correct those, you enter the take profit price. And you will see that this will update itself, and now you have a more realistic rating, and this will then also impact your overall performance and the other tabs where the trade analytics, where we then analyze your reward to risk ratio in more depth. Another thing that you can do is also sort for the reward to risk ratio, and then you will see immediately, do you have many negative ones and what is the problem. You can see that even though the trader filled out the stop loss and the take profit for this price, for this trade, the reward to risk ratio is negative. So what is the issue here? The problem here is that the take profit price is higher than the entry price. And this is a sell trade or a short position. So the take profit price should be underneath and below the entry price. This is something that often is done by accident if you are not really careful with the trade entry. and your data input, this can happen sometimes. And if you correct this and if you put the right take profit, which should be below the entry price on a short trade, then the negative reward to risk ratio will also correct itself. When we go to the other end of the spectrum, when we go to the other side, you can see here is still another trade with a very, very high reward to risk ratio that will skew your performance. And you can see the trader did not enter a take profit. So I would really recommend that you take a look at your journal, and if the reward to risk ratio is something that you would like to use, make sure to enter all your values here as precisely as possible. The next thing that I noticed is when you go to the chart lab, this is something to fix easily. To the holding time, you can see there are a few trades with a negative holding time. You can see if they are on the left to the y-axis, it means that the holding time here is negative, which should not be the case because the holding time should always be positive. And the negative holding time means that your trade exit date in the journal is set before the trade entry. And this is also obviously a data error. And you need to go into your journal and look for those trades that have a negative holding time and then correct them to get the right picture. The problem that we see with the wrong reward to risk ratio can be observed here in the trade analytics. When you then add the ordering criteria of outcome, then you can see when we go to your reward to risk ratio, which is here, you can see you have a very high negative rating. Then you can see we have very high positive rating of 126, and this is attributed to the large trades that we analyzed and that we found in your journal as well. So make sure that if you see that you have those big outliers when it comes to the reward to risk ratio, or if they are even negative, go back to your journal and analyze your data input and correct it if necessary. Another thing that I would really recommend for the trader is to go to his custom statistic. You can see the trader did not analyze any custom statistic and he hasn't entered any. And the custom statistic is one of the most powerful tools in Edgewonk that will help you analyze your trading performance in much more depth. So really make sure to use this feature as well. We give very specific examples on our blog and also across our different YouTube videos for how to use the custom statistics. And this will then help you, and this will allow you to use the filters here at the top for the various custom statistics, and you can go through all the different tabs and analytic features and all the graphs and then filter for custom statistics. And we have often seen it during our trade reviews that with the help of the custom statistic, the trader is often able to find out what works really well for him and what doesn't work, and then it is much easier to adjust the process and the trading behavior overall. Another thing that I would really recommend, because the OTP hit field, it activates your trade management graph. So what I would really recommend is that you fill out your OTP hit field as precisely and as good as possible. Don't leave any blank trades. So what you do is you just go into your trade. So whenever you don't have an OTP hit that is filled out, you go back into your trade, you tick it yes or no, and then it will activate and update itself automatically. You do that for the trades where you see that you don't have a OTP hit filled out, and then you can go to your chart lab, to your trade management, and then you have an updated graph. This is usually how it looks when the trader is not using all of the trades and all of his trades are not ticked for yes or no for the OTP hit. Then you will see those sudden jumps and those curves that don't just look right somehow. Also, you can see here, because we are measuring the performance in R multiples, it seems like the trader has another issue here with those huge negative R multiples, and that needs to be addressed. You can go back to your journal as well again, and then you sort here for the R multiple, and then when you go to the highest and the lowest, you'll see that there are a few trades where the trader has a huge R multiple that is negative, and you can go down and you can see here it looks all right. So it seems like only those two trades, they need some adjustment. And if you see that you have made a wrong input, especially here on this winning trade, so the background color is green, which means that this is a winning trade, but your R multiple is negative. So this shows that there's something wrong in the data input. And when you look at the take profit, the entry and the stop loss and the exit price, you will be able to see that. So you can see it seems like there is some data input error here again. So the entry price is at 1578 and the exit price is at 1508, which is much lower than the entry price, but the trader here realized a profit. So something seems to be off here. Probably he just missed a decimal, and it should read 1580 because that's also his take profit. And you can see when we correct it 1580.5, this trade will now also move to the lower end of the spectrum and then be analyzed correctly with the right R multiple. And you can see when we now go back to the trade management graph, we just have this one dip, which is the large negative trade that we identified as well here in the journal. And once the trader is able to correct this trade, then his trade management graph will be readable and will be usable as well. So really make sure to look at those huge outliers, the negative R multiples on winning trades, the negative reward to risk ratios in general, and then you will be able to improve the journal quality and the data quality significantly, and then you will be able to use Edgewonk in a much better way.